Ultra Nightmare. That is both the name of Doom Eternal's hardest difficulty and what you'll experience trying to beat it. At a base level, succeeding in Doom Eternal requires absolute mechanical mastery, exceptional reaction time to avoid instantaneous death, and a deep understanding of every game system so you can upgrade Doomguy effectively. But on Ultra Nightmare, you need to do all of these things without ever dying once. Okay, this. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh, we have 5 health. And we're dead. Considering that this is regarded as one of the hardest video game difficulties ever made, and the fact that I have never beaten a Doom game prior to playing Eternal, my version of Doom First Grade was earning every achievement in the game on Nightmare difficulty, which was tough, but it was necessary. I needed to know which encounters were required and which ones were too risky, considering this is a full game permadeath. Now, since the upgrades for your character are directly tied to the amount of content you complete, this will be the main optimization problem that I'm gonna have to deal with while routing the hardest permadeath I have ever attempted. But of course, like any of these challenges, my run began at the difficulty selector. Ultra Nightmare. This is Nightmare with one major adjustment. If you die, your campaign is over. Are you sure? Can you imagine asking the guy who embodies Doomguy if he's okay with playing Ultra Nightmare difficulty? It's fucking canonically first try. So if you've never played Doom Eternal before, the important context you need is that the main quest is to rip and tear until it is done. And that's basically Doom Eternal in a nutshell. Of course, completing that goal is more difficult at the start of the game, since we start with only 5% of Doomguy's total arsenal, which is fortunately enough since Arsenal is top of the Premier League this season, so even a small amount should be good enough to get the job done. I'm not a Doom master. I can explain why I'm making decisions. It does not mean they're the correct decisions, okay? But there is a caveat to how I'm going to do this. Across all of Doom Eternal, there are 7 upgradable weapons, and each weapon has 1 to 2 upgrades and a mastery. When a weapon mod is unlocked, you use the tokens that are earned from completing encounters to upgrade them. I bring this up because every weapon in Doom Eternal is used to solve a specific problem. For example, the sticky bombs in the shotgun can be used to stun Caco demons, allowing you to execute them immediately. Or how the precision bolt on the heavy cannon is used to instantly tear off Arachnotron cannons. So unless you're doing 100% of the content, your toolbox is going to be limited. And with that said, I will be taking the sticky bombs for my shotgun, since full auto is just ass. So with my first weapon mod officially slotted in, we begin the section of the game that I refer to as Doomguy's Firsts. Because of how upgrades are spaced throughout the game, the first few levels are the most dangerous since we have fresh out of the womb levels of health and very few ways to evade enemies. So while the fights in the early game are pretty tame, the lack of combat options makes planning for every encounter absolutely essential for the first few missions. Things become easier to YOLO as we collect more weapons, but almost everything is done to maximize resources. This includes when I was picking up chainsaw ammo and when I was using it to take out big demons. Since most of the first mission revolves around killing grunt enemies and running in a straight line, I mainly had to focus on picking up a few upgrades, such as the precision bolt for the heavy cannon and the grenade launcher. So with the arenas for mission 1 only containing a handful of basic enemies, and my confidence yet to be shaken, I flew through almost everything in this level up until the final arena, which is where my planning was going to be needed the most. I'm gonna go up this chute here. There's gonna be 2 of those Caco demon guys, and there's a bunch of random little enemies. I'm gonna feed the Caco demons grenades to stagger them for a second, and when I kill them, an Arachnotron's gonna spawn. I'm gonna chainsaw him, which I currently only have 2 chainsaws, but there's a 3rd one in that room up there. And then there should be 1 more Caco demon that I need to kill. But if I get hit by like 1 random fucking gargoyle, then we're gonna be fucked. Give this a go. Pop that guy. Pop that guy. Hey, feed that guy a thing. Need to grab this. Give that to him. Oh, didn't hit him. Oh. That is so fucking crazy. Well, there's our first run dead. So it appears the Kako demons have much smaller mouths than I had originally calculated, because my grenade just missed the hole entirely. This wasn't the end of the world since I had only been playing for about 15 minutes, but it goes to show you how absolutely unforgiving Ultra Nightmare can really be. That said, I took my time, definitely not almost dying on my way back to the end of Mission 1, except this time, I was determined to do things the right way. Okay, no stalling, let's just go. Okay, grab this. He got it. Okay, perfect. Grab this. Okay, he grabbed it. Perfect. Pop this guy. Chainsaw this. Perfect. There should be one more that spawns in. Perfect. Okay, so that's what's supposed to happen. Like I mentioned earlier, the beginning of Doom Eternal is exceptionally dangerous, which is what makes the routing and planning so important. But this doesn't stop at Mission 1. Let me introduce you to the Perilous 3. Hell on Earth, Exaltia, and Cultist Base. These are the first 3 missions. And while they have easier encounters than the rest of the game, the lack of player power makes them the first real test of Ultra Nightmare difficulty. Since I've already experienced the consequences of messing up, before going into Exaltia, I stopped by the hub world to pick up a few upgrades. The first on that list is the Flame Belch. This allows me to set multiple enemies on fire to generate armor. And then the second item is my first Sentinel Crystal, which upgrades health, armor, and ammo capacity. I will be grabbing every Sentinel Crystal in the game, so my plan is to unlock Loot Magnet first because it's a lot easier to survive when health and armor get sucked in from a mile away. Then I'm going to focus on the health and armor upgrades exclusively because these last 3 ammo upgrades can be grabbed in the tail end of the run to refill BFG ammo. The usefulness of these upgrades will become obvious in a bit, but for now, it was time to head into the start of Mission 2 and grab, one more upgrade. So I know this is a lot, but these upgrades are really important because, spoiler alert, this is not my last time in Mission 2. Now, the beginning of Exaltia gives me access to 2 things. The first is Blood Punch, which is a powerful AoE melee, and the second is my first passive upgrade, also known as a rune. Okay, dude, this is the thing. There's so much of this shit to explain at the start here, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm taking air control. Almost all of the combat you do from like the 4th or 5th mission forward is centered around being in the air. You need to be able to move in the air. So I'm gonna grab this. Now, there is this. So saving throw is basically like if you die, time slows down and you get a chance to like recover one time because it resets on death. And if you need to use this to get out of the first 3 levels of the game, you're probably not gonna make it through the whole run. At any point in time, you can have up to 3 runes equipped at once. So I'll mention the other important ones when I get to them later, because in the meantime, I had a few arenas to battle through before I was gonna deal with anything really difficult. Also important to mention, this is where I picked up my first useful movement ability, which is the dash, and I also got my 3rd weapon, the plasma rifle. This is probably where you're thinking that this entire run is just picking up items and running through corridors, but that isn't exactly true. The next notable section of difficulty happens to be the end of Mission 2, and in my opinion, it's one of the deadliest encounters in the first 3 missions, since it needs to be heavily choreographed to survive consistently. There is one last thing I should mention when it comes to deciding which combat to skip or to do. There are 2 optional encounters that give you weapon upgrade points. Firstly, there are the Gore Nests, which are timed encounters that are mostly manageable if you need weapon points. And secondly, there are Slayer Gates. Now, what I can tell you for sure is I'm not doing any of these. These doors may look regal and fancy, but the only thing about these doors is unnecessary risk and sadness. Doing this gives you 3 weapon points, and I'm not getting any of them. Just so we're clear. While I may not be getting upgrade points from Slayer Gates, I did get my 2nd crystal to unlock that loot magnet thing I mentioned earlier. And then I marched my way to the final arena of Mission 2. I can actually explain this from here before we get in here. Here's what's gonna happen. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this teleporter and I'm gonna sprint forward and grab quad damage, which only lasts for like 15 seconds or something. I'm gonna grab this quad damage. I'm gonna shoot an arachnotron with 2 sticky bombs. Then I'm gonna jump through that portal, which is gonna pop me out here, and I'm gonna blood punch a Hell Knight. I'm gonna jump back through the portal, and I'm gonna kill a revenant that spawns over here. Then I'm gonna turn and look in the sky, and I'm gonna shoot this Kako demon with a grenade, and when he dies, I'm gonna turn around and chainsaw an arachnotron right where my crosshair is, at that far end. If I do that, we win the fight. Here we go, baby. I fucking landed in fire like a goddamn idiot. Oh. Okay, that was a mistake. Kill this guy. Chainsaw this guy. A little bit of a dangerous spot here. I'm gonna just back up. I'm gonna fly over here and just build some space. All the dangerous shit is killed. So now we're gonna just sit here and juggle. Also important to note, we don't have any armor. We have some now. Boom! Okay, level 2 is done. That final encounter may have looked sloppy, but as your resident Doom guy Van Gogh, some people just don't understand my method of madness. But what you can understand is that I am now going into the single biggest roadblock of Ultra Nightmare, Cultist Base. This is where things really start to suck. This is probably the longest mission in the game, and it has some of the most dangerous encounters since we still don't have a lot of health. Fortunately, we also get access to some of the strongest tech in the game. First things first, I pulled off a little jump skip to grab the Sentinel battery to avoid some boring platforming, and then I entered the first arena of the level, known as the Hallway of Horrors. This is the introduction to the Mancubus. They hit really hard, but you can shoot their hands off like they're thieves in the 1400s by using a precision bolt. This essentially neuters them, but on top of that, this hallway has a fancy button that turns them into holiday ham. The reward for surviving this encounter is a suit token, which can be used for various passive abilities, but the most important one is Hot Swapper, since it essentially enables us to use 2 weapons at the same time. Now, I don't mean that literally, but with this passive, you can switch between weapons and fire while the other weapon is reloading. This is super easy to demonstrate as I enter the next 2 arenas and acquire the rocket launcher, because this is where offense starts to become the best defense. So this is the first arena with the rocket. This is dangerous. I think there's 3 Mancubuses, which are the big guys with the turrets on their arms. Now, 2 things are true about Mancubuses. If you shoot them in the turret, like on their hand, it stuns them for a second. And 2, you can kill one with like a precision bolt, which is like when you zoom in or you like quick scope. 3 of those and 3 rockets will kill a Mancubus. So the moment I grab this, the fight starts. So, that guy's dead. So that got this guy. I'm gonna rip this guy apart. I'm gonna dance around. I'm gonna try to kill some of these guys at this point. So apparently I'm just gonna keep my chainsaw and destroy this entire arena without needing to use it. I'm actually kind of low on ammo. Was that a mistake? And if you didn't know before now, ammo in Doom Eternal is very limited, so you need to chainsaw an enemy to refill your supplies. But before being introduced to the Whiplash, which is why I need the ammo, I picked up my second rune, Dazed and Confused. This will make enemies stay stunned for twice as long, and it gives me more leeway when it comes to fighting groups of powerful demons, just like in this next area. I guess I didn't need to actually do that, but that's fine. Oh. That was a mistake. We've moved into the we have to panic a little bit stage. Okay, actually, we're fine, I guess. That went so horribly wrong because I didn't swap to my freeze grenade. But whatever, I guess. What the bro? Holy shit! With a few new enemy types added to the regular rotation, I got access to my next notable weapon part, which is the lock-on burst for the rocket launcher. This is one of the best mods in the entire game since you can use it instantly to kill a bunch of the medium-tier demons like a Hell Knight or Whiplash. Having better guns doesn't mean you're immune to almost dying, of course, and Doom Eternal loves to remind you that ripping and tearing can go both ways. By the time I had made it into the actual base, I could tell that my improvisation was kinda lacking. I was trying to execute my plans for each encounter, but when something unexpected happened, I wasn't adapting as quickly as I needed to. And this was a bubble that was just begging to burst. We're also down to chainsaws, but I don't think we can chainsaw anything in here.
Attention, all
Where's the whiplash gonna spawn? That's what we wanted to do. This thing's not dead. Bro. How are you not dead? Okay, so this should give me health and armor. Okay, so now the Mancubuses should spawn. Oh! Bro, that was so fast. Oh my god. Why did the Mancubus fall and, like, sit in the air? Why did he wait? What did he get stuck on? For a moment there, he was in the time before Newton. So while that was an unfortunate issue, my real problem was that I didn't react to the situation and deal with the gargoyles that spawned in on my left. Doom Eternal is an extremely reactive game, and even if you prepare for every encounter, it takes one hit to throw things into disarray. So while I was going through the door that encompasses the first 2 levels again, I was feeling a lot less invincible than I was at the start now that I had been deleted twice. And that led to another reminder that playing scared was basically digging my own grave. So I didn't actually use that. Okay, this. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh, we have 5 health. And we're dead. Oh my god. What a fucking easy mistake to make, dude. What's your favorite Doom game? Not this one. Not goddamn this one. At this point, I was just making minor mistakes and griefing my own ability to succeed. These are prime examples for why the early game is so difficult. You just don't have the tools to mitigate mistakes, which means you just have to play better. This was where I rounded out my first day of Ultra Nightmare attempts. And because Ultra Nightmare allows you to save progress at the end of a mission, I once again made it to Cultist Base and then decided I would begin the next stream there. Hey, it's me. Just so you know, I do stream these runs on YouTube and Twitch Mondays and Thursdays at 7:30 MST. So subscribe if you don't want to miss those. But if you do just want to catch the VODs, I upload these runs over on Morgan's Lounge after the main video goes live here on the channel. This will include the successful Ultra Nightmare attempt. But anyway, let's go and see if day 2 was any better than day 1. Being 3 deaths deep by mission 3 isn't exactly Doom Guy material, but one of the bigger issues was jumping right back into the action on Cultist Base after a few days of not really playing. One of the really punishing aspects of Doom Eternal compared to other permadeath runs is that you can't exactly play it safe by hiding and let the enemies come to you. Success is tied to mechanical mastery, which means you need to be warmed up to avoid making these common mistakes. One of the other notable things about Ultra Nightmare is that playing on autopilot in any capacity is the fastest way to get back to the opening cinematic if that's your favorite part of the game. It's not my favorite, but I was going back there regardless because of how good I was at doing things the wrong way. His nuts are growing with each run. Every arena. I'm like the Grinch, except it happens straight in the fucking sack. God damn. Whoa! I've never been so sad. Literally 1 second. We should not have died there. I can't even believe that just happened. That is like getting kicked in the fucking nuts by a hand. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, run it back. So while I was still learning why people say Doom Eternal has the hardest difficulty known to gamerkind, I was also the one responsible for making the mistakes that were ending my runs. I wish I could say I was finally on the run that was gonna make it out of the early game, but that just wasn't the case yet. First off, I had one tragic death in the final area of Chapter 2. Hit this guy twice, he will die. Blood punch this guy, jump back through. Oh, I missed. Oh, not good. Oh, we're gonna die. And I'm dead. Fuck, dude. That's so annoying. And on the run that immediately followed that one, I made it to the massive outdoor area of Cultist Base and then proceeded to make every wrong decision imaginable when it came to managing which fights to take and which fights to run from. And it cost me yet another early game death. Oh my god, the whiplash spawned. Chainsaw, chainsaw, chainsaw. Holy shit, we're gonna die. Kill that guy. Oh, oh. Oh my fucking god, I don't even know how we died there. I hate this level. I'm playing this fucking level 10 fucking times before we come back. I'm not playing this level again. Okay, 10 is a bit much, but I did play through it a few times before my next Ultra Nightmare attempt. And while it made a difference because I was more familiar with the smaller arenas, it was not going to be the main reason that I got a new PB. Considering I had beaten this level on Nightmare at least 4 times in practice, I knew I could do it if I stopped making fundamental errors. So to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, I went against my own plan and changed up my second rune selection. Dude, I'm really tempted to buy this just because I want us to get out of this level. I feel like if you need to take saving throw this early, you genuinely can't beat the game on Ultra Nightmare. And I keep fucking dying on this level. Just because I want to get deep into the run, I think I'm just going to use saving throw. Fuck it, we gotta not die to the bosses. We're taking saving throw. This was not a decision I took lightly. I mean, I had barely made it halfway through the 3rd level, and now I was willing to potentially burn my 1 get out of jail free card before the game had even really started. And honestly, I was right to feel apprehensive, since I burned my saving throw in literally the next 10 minutes when I returned to my PB in the cultist base pit. Okay, so this is, let's see if we can do this. We're gonna build up a bunch of armor on the first couple of enemies and just try to bang it. And then this will be a PB. Are they all dead? They're all dead. Okay, so we get a bunch of regular enemies. Kill these fucking shield guys. Bastards. Whiplash. Kill the gargoyles. Use this. Honestly, fuck the Arachnotron. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, saving throw. That shit's crazy. I don't even know what the fuck killed me. Okay, PB, let's go. All it took was using our 1 fucking time survive. I'll take it. So, considering I like to game end myself by barrel stuffing enemies with my rocket launcher, I don't know how good of a decision it was to use saving throw this early. But in the meantime, I grabbed my next Sentinel Crystal, which gave me a nice health boost. And then I mopped up an optional encounter for an additional weapon point that I was about to need. You see, deep in cultist base, there exists a weapon that would make any Floridian give you a hoot and a holler. And that is the double-barreled shotgun. But this thing has the potential to do a whole lot more than just turn things to mush. Using this weapon turns the traditional 2D movement shooter you might be familiar with into an on-demand 3D stomp fest where Doom Guy is the one providing the lube. This single addition to the arsenal gives us the opportunity to fight and defend on a whole new axis, since it has a built-in chain gun that gives on-demand verticality, which essentially makes our ability to survive actually exist. Then on top of that, the mastery skill will allow me to use the built-in chain to generate armor if an enemy is killed shortly after hooking onto them. This is why I needed the additional weapon point from that secret encounter. The mastery upgrade requires both skills to be purchased for exactly 9 points. Then I need to get 50 kills with the meat hook to acquire it. I will be focusing on trying to get this upgrade ASAP, which makes the fact that most of the remaining cultist base is just clearing little rooms really nice, since I have the opportunity to start leveling it. This, of course, has been building up to the most hectic arena of the level, but it was one that I felt pretty confident in being able to fly through now that I had the ability to zip around like I was in Top Gun. We need to rip this turret off of this guy now. Make sure we're not getting nothing crazy over here. Well, there's no way that guy just dodged that, by the way. I hate whiplashes with a passion. Okay, we need to not die to this guy that just spawned right here. This might be a mistake to not farm the armor, but I don't have Flame Belch on off cooldown. Okay, cultist base finally cleared for the first time ever. Blessed be saving throw. With cultist base finally beaten, I was granted a one-way ticket out of the early game, and it was here in the Doom Hunter base that I would face my first real boss fight. Of course, that doesn't happen at the start of the level, so I was going to use all the miscellaneous encounters and fodder demons to work on unlocking my shotgun mastery. One of the nice things about this mission specifically is that most of the encounters are pretty straightforward if you know enemy weaknesses. Great example of that is using one plasma rifle charge to stagger a pinky demon so you can one-shot them from behind. Now, because I didn't have the Doom Hunter base arenas downloaded into my cerebrum like those previous fights, I focused on some core fundamental techniques that are staples in every Ultra Nightmare run. This is basically going to boil down to circling rooms while maintaining height and using as much of your utility as possible as the different abilities come off of cooldown. To increase the usefulness of these abilities, I was also trying to complete some of the mission challenges to unlock more upgrade tokens. Notably, I was upgrading my Frost Grenade first because the stun can be used on any demon, and the extra health on kill was super strong in a pinch. While I was doing this, I also grabbed my third rune, Dazed and Confused, since the double stagger duration is a game changer when you need to juggle multiple demons. But with these upgrades acquired, my confidence was back to its peak. And it was like the game knew this and wanted to remind me that anything can happen in Doom Eternal. And I was gonna need to keep my guard up. I have not practiced pre-Super Gore Nest in like a week and a half. So that's where we're at right now. What the fuck was that? Huh? I don't even know where the fuck I am. I'm here though. Doom guy gets around, apparently. Pseudo heart attacks aside, the rest of this level went smoothly. I grabbed an armor upgrade at the next Sentinel Crystal, and then I proceeded to beeline it straight to the end of the level so I could face this supposed Doom Guy killer. This is the first boss fight in the game, and it has two main phases. The first involves damaging the Doom Hunter by either using the plasma rifle to break his shield, or using things like Frost Grenade and Blood Punch to blow up his sled. In the first phase, there are fodder demons around, but they actually help you by giving you the ability to farm them for health and ammo. But when the boss enters phase 2, stronger demons start spawning, which is why it is paramount to kill him as fast as possible the moment he becomes vulnerable. Then you need to remember to glory kill him so he doesn't recover. Of course, killing the Doom Hunter isn't the end of the boss fight, because once you restock, the next phase is to fight two weaker versions at the same time. What I'm gonna do is just be careful, okay? This fight really is not too bad, the second phase, if you sequence everything correctly. It's a lot easier. Just don't get fucking meleeed. If you get meleeed, then yeah, you're fucked, buddy. Ayo. Oh, what the fuck? Brother, who let you come to the party? Get off your little sled. We don't deal with bobsledists here, all right, pal? So we need to kill these guys at like the same time. So you're the guy who's not almost dead. Oh, that you are the guy that's almost dead. Where's the other guy? Well, I'm not gonna kill this guy then. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. Okay, whatever. Finish this guy. The other guy's like right here. He's basically dead. Should be fine. Yeah, boom. Doom Hunter base done. And just like that, the first boss fight of the game was completed, and I needed to end the stream because it was already midnight, and my 8 a.m. meetings require some amount of sleep. But on the next day, we were ready to get a bunch of upgrades that were certainly going to help propel us through the mid-game. Two big things happen before we start Super Gore Nest. First, I get the Ballista weapon, which we'll talk about more in a moment, and secondly, I use these Sentinel batteries that I had been collecting over the first 4 levels to grab 2 additional health upgrades. These upgrades are the main reason that the game starts to feel like it's becoming easier. When fighting in some of the trickier arenas, I now have a larger window to recover when I eventually make a mistake. Now, to help avoid mistakes, I grabbed a weapon mod for the Ballista called the Destroyer Blade. This thing can be used to fire a massive horizontal slash, and if you know where the enemies are going to be, there are a ton of setups to delete them before they can even start fighting. Bop, 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 bop. Pop this guy. We ain't gonna give a rat's ass. Pop. Not bad. See? The Destroyer Blade can be nasty. Knowing where the enemies are going to be doesn't mean they aren't dangerous, as I've already demonstrated a few times, but it definitely helps during encounters such as this next one that involve destroying a buff totem. The basement is never doomed. I hope. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oops. That was fucking a little close. I'm not gonna lie to you. That guy came out a lot faster than he was supposed to, but hey, we'll take it, okay? So outside of ripping and tearing, this is one of the levels that has some additional objectives. These include finding the yellow key and the red key and the key to success, which you can definitely get if you just join my totally legit business that isn't a scam. I meant the blue key. My bad. The yellow key is a freebie after completing that buff totem room, and it also unlocks my final rune, Equipment Fiend. This will decrease the recharge time of my utility as I use it. Getting these keys and bringing them back to the central part of the gore nest is how we'll need to beat this level. And every time we enter this arena, we're faced with an army of demons. There is a quad damage and full heal in this area for when things get hectic, but honestly, with all of the massive room to navigate, I didn't even need to grab the damage buff during this first big fight. This is kinda what I meant when I said verticality makes the games easier. The demons aim just like me, so if I start buzzing around like a bee in heat, they have issues trying to hit me. Now, like I alluded to earlier, we're nearing the point where I've acquired all of the main tools that are needed to battle through the second half of the game. This includes my final health upgrade from the next Sentinel Crystal, and the chain gun, which I picked up after grabbing the second key. Considering how long this level is, it might be a surprise that there aren't really any big arenas between the different keys. Most of the incidental combat can be skipped entirely or cleaned up with just a few shots. Going from room to room clearing fodder demons was enough to get my meat hook mastered completely, which should further increase my survivability going forward. And the perfect place to test if it was actually working was the final area of the level. Stack up that armor. All right, don't get hit by that. That'll fuck us up. All right, let's go get this quad damage and have some fun. Boom! Love me some quad damage. It's so delicious. Okay, we're basically done with this level. All that was left to reach the halfway point of the game was a final timed escape sequence. But since that is incredibly easy once you know the route, we can officially call the first half of the game completed. Now the second half is where the pace really starts to pick up, and it all begins on the level Arc Complex. This is where we can really use enemy placements to our advantage and leverage the power of the destroyer blade on the ballista. But the key component to making that work is not missing your shot. Bop! No way that didn't fucking hit him. That's a problem. Dude. Oh my god, he fucking stunned me out of that. That was fucking hairy. Holy shit. If a D-blade shot is properly hit, it can genuinely clear an entire room in only one shot. This is even more obvious if you can land one in a hallway full of fodder or medium-tier demons. And with everything being cleared so quickly, I can grab additional tokens to start leveling up my frag grenade so that I have 2 charges, and it can falter demons with the explosion. These upgrades were going to be super useful since I was going to encounter a few new demonic tricks while trying to battle my way into the center of the Arc Complex. The first fun addition to the arenas is a ton of purple goop that slows you down when you step in it. Now I know this was in the last level, but the twist here is that there is just way more deadly demons running you down while you slip in the slot. But if purple muck wasn't enough to twist your berries, we also get to experience the first cyber mancubus of the run. Unfortunately, can still be killed with 3 chainsaw charges since they're just a beefier variant of the original. To confront the realities of stronger demons, the next little bit was hard carried by using the destroyer blade to clear out huge swaths of demons where I could, followed by snagging my next armor upgrade in the apartments. Most of the battles in this level actually follow this exact pattern, which is why knowing the enemy placements will make this level in particular so much easier. But as I've said before, and as I'll say again, knowing how to beat the smaller combat arenas quickly won't save you when it comes to handling the incredibly dangerous fights that lurk in this second half of the game. The first super notable one actually happens in this mission, and it begins after taking the express route straight to the kitchen. It's getting hectic. Let's see if we can do this encounter. This encounter scares me a bit. I need ammo. Cut this guy up. Oh, that's him. Oh, get this. Okay, rip and tear, literally. If it moves, rip. If it doesn't move, tear. Oh, there's a big guy on top of me. Don't do it, bro. Yes. Rip this guy. Tear this guy. Kill the big guy, Morgan. The fucking fight's over, bro. Not too shabby. With the kitchen fight finished, we would normally have to go through a whole basement section of the level to make it to the core part of the complex. But since Doom Guy knows how to fly, I took a bit of a direct route to avoid some extra fighting. This is one of the only skips I'm gonna do in the game. We need to go over there, and you notice there's some tentacles blocking it. Whatever kind of Cthulhu hentai bullshit that is, I'm gonna slide my way right through there, but we're just gonna give it a go. I fucked it up.
Amazing.
Hey, it's just movement, baby. With the light work skip complete, the only thing that was left to do was to battle the first Marauder. These guys are ruthless because they can only be damaged after parrying their green attacks. Now, I killed this guy a lot faster than I thought I would, so that means the level's over and there isn't much to say. Hooray! Marauders are actually very dangerous, but I'll show you why in a bit. Now, this is actually the part of the game where we're basically going to start going from level to level with only a few pit stops in the process. This means the arenas from the Mars core level and onward are really going to start amping up the chaos, since we're about to finally finish Doom Guy Puberty and acquire the strongest weapon in the entire game. The story reason for being on Mars is that we need to get into the city that's at the middle of the planet known as Habet. That city has the only portal to get to Mission 8. But from the point of view of Ultra Nightmare, Mars Core is the mission that provides us with the BFG. And for the uninitiated, that stands for the big fucking gun. And it's the single most important weapon in the entire game. Now, before I'm allowed to grab it, I have to fight my first non-boss Doom Hunter, which means from here on out, these guys will be a lot more common. Oh, fuck. I didn't think he was going to show up this fast. I should have waited. Boom. Okay. Little hectic, but not terrible. Morgan just burying enemies 6 feet under. Rhino, I'm trying, brother. I'm trying to send them back home. But like I said, the reward for beating this encounter is access to the BFG. And this gun is basically just a delete button for everything that's in an arena, with a few exceptions. This is super important because I have a plan for every single BFG shot from this point onward, including those ammo refills that we've been avoiding from the Sentinel crystals. And the first arena where I end up using one happens about halfway through this level, since this fight contains 2 of the largest suppression units in the game. Yeah, this fight down there is pretty hectic. Are there enemies that I can shoot in advance? Will that kill him? Yeah, fuck the shield guy, bro. So I'm gonna D-blade, and then I'm just gonna use... Boom. Oh, that was easy. Oh. Fuck that guy. What the hell? Oh, I'm stepping in shit I shouldn't be stepping in. Execute this guy just for the memes and the love of the game. And boom, done. Okay, so we do get our shot back, by the way. But I mean, normally I don't have one of those to use there, so I'm sick. At this point, most of Mars Core is nothing to write home about until we get to the final arena. So in the meantime, I was clearing out the incidental combat with my excess BFG shots, and then I grabbed my final non-ammo upgrade from a Sentinel crystal before making my way to the end of the mission. This encounter is the first time that I use some tech to kill enemies before they fully spawn. You see, if you shoot a BFG shot into the room before jumping in, a Baron of Hell will die and he'll never enter the arena. Then you're able to handle all the miscellaneous enemies for a little bit before using a second BFG shot on the Doom Hunter when he spawns in at the end of the fight. Once the arena is cleared out, we get a BFG shot refunded, and then it's time to make a mad dash for Mission 8, which is a short one if you don't die. Welcome to Sentinel Prime, and as you can see in the top right, this whole level is only a boss fight, which means we're officially gonna battle the end game gatekeeper, the Gladiator. The first phase of this fight is actually pretty straightforward. The boss has a shield up, and he will eventually turn green when he goes to attack. At that point, I need to shoot him to apply a stun. Then I can do a glory kill and take off a good chunk of his health. The boss actually summons some fodder during this fight, but most of the time you can use these guys to refill your health and armor, so it isn't too bad. But when the fight goes from okay to shit is in the second phase after you break his shield. This is where the Doom boys become the Doom guys. I'm playing really poorly. I feel like I should just take a second here. I don't even know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to come near him. I'm not going to waste my ammo either because no one's dropped in yet. Come on, brother. Peek me behind that shield. You coward. Oh. I don't know how that attack works. I forget. I panicked. Ooh, I think you're supposed to fucking attack him there, and I fucked it up. Oh, thank fucking God. Suck my dick. Gladiator these nuts, brother. We take those, okay? That was tough. That was stressful. Oh my God, Sean, you're preaching to the choir here, brother. So, the gladiator has fallen, and in hindsight, that wasn't even close, brother. But now, it is officially time to enter the endgame, and every level from here on out has arenas that can immediately end this run. Mission 9, Terrace Nabad, has this in spades with the introduction of a new enemy type, the Archvile. We're about to meet a new enemy type. They're called an Archvile. I'm going to explain what they do now so you understand how big of a fucking deal it is to kill this thing fast. This Archvile enemy can either spawn here or over there or like on this side. This enemy summons other enemies and buffs them all so they're fucking strong. So we need to either use a BFG round if he spawns back here, or I need to frost bomb and 6 missile him if he spawns in one of these other areas. I missed the actual part at the end, though. All right. Oh, of course he spawned over here. Boom. Yeah, we don't play that game here, brother. Oh. What? I didn't know you could do that. That was a long explanation for what looked like a simple fight, but the fights that contain an Archvile need to be handled with this level of specificity or you are almost certainly going to die. And yes, I am speaking from some level of experience, since even when I knew the Archvile was going to spawn, I still almost died in the next arena that contained one. Uh-oh. This is bad, this is bad. Oh, I need to fucking kill this guy. I'm playing this so poorly. I should be dropping my nades on this guy to stagger him. He's dead. Yeah, take care, pal. See you tomorrow. Maybe, hopefully not. If the BFG ammo allows it, you can kill those guys instantly, but the backup plan is to frost bomb them and fire 2 lock-on bursts for the instant kill. That's important. Write that down. The other thing to keep track of is the fact that I am currently the undisputed king of the Marauder Beatdown Club, since not a one of them have been able to break me like I've been breaking them. I bring that up because my confidence in completing this run was starting to reach new heights. And with the rest of Terrace Nabad being pretty easy, this was only going to inflate my confidence even more. Outside of some pretty standard incidental combat, I grabbed my final weapon, the Crucible. This thing can one-shot any non-boss demon, but the charges are extremely limited outside of specific encounters. So I'm going to be using them in specific spots just like my BFG rounds. Once I finish this Crucible introduction encounter, the level is technically over. But something I haven't mentioned before is you can actually fast travel to previous parts of the current level with all of the enemies despawn. This means I can actually go back to a previous area and grab my next Sentinel upgrade, which will refill my BFG ammo going into the next mission, which is actually the arc that encompasses the last 4 levels, and it officially marks the point of no return when it comes to grabbing upgrades in the hub world, which fortunately I had already grabbed. This means it's time for Necroval 1. I think this is one of the easiest levels in the game because most of the fights can be skipped entirely by running past everything, or they can be sequenced in such a way that they end very quickly. All right, let me grab this little 4 times bonus. Pop. Bop, bop, bop. Hey, simmer down, pal. Is there a... Okay, there's a chainsaw here. Perfect. First part of this level's done. This level's actually quite short, to be fair. As long as you don't fucking die. If you die, all of a sudden this level turns into being the entire game's length. That sentiment can actually extend to the rest of the levels in the game. So instead of walking through all of the basic ripping and tearing that I was doing, I want to focus on the specific run-ending arenas from each level. Because at this point, I'm 6 hours into the run over the course of 2 streams in a week, and dying would quite literally cost me days of progress, which is why it would be a real shame if I forgot where the archvile spawned in the next arena. Okay, we're going into a really hairy fight. One that I'm genuinely kind of scared of. Huh? Yeah, I think it's now. Where's this bastard spawn? I think I might have fucked it up. Hopefully I didn't, but I might have. Oh my god, I fucked it up. Do they stay spawned in? I don't think so. Oh, well, those guys did. Bam. Good news. I fucked it up, but we survived. Oh my gosh. That was a scary fight. And we fucked it up because I forgot the Archvile didn't always spawn down here. That was as close to being a problem as things could realistically get without being dead. But that is the hardest fight in the level. So I was able to take a few breaths and remember that it's only 6 hours that are on the line if I forget something like that again. To take extra precautions against another literal oops, I used a BFG shot to insta-kill the Marauder that ambushed me in a side room, and then I used 2 BFG shots to clear almost everything out of the final arena in the mission. Pop off one of those. Whoa. See, we had 2, so we were able to do that. Can you just die, please? Can we not do this? Let's not do this bullshit. I don't know what the fuck. I fat-fingered my F key and teleported through the floor to kill someone down here. That was scary. Once everything was dead, I used the same magic as the previous level and fast traveled back to the Sentinel Crystal so I could get my second to last BFG refill going into Necroval Part 2. But here's the thing. I had to roll this Ultra Nightmare run into a 3rd day of play because things had gotten so late. So imagine my surprise when I started up and realized something was wrong with my ammo supply. Okay, what's our ammo sitch? No BFG ammo. How the fuck do we not have BFG ammo? I'm gonna take this slow since I can't BFG them all, but it should be fine. I don't remember using all that fucking ammo. We went back and got the crystal, did we not? Something weird's happened here. So apparently there's a bug that doesn't save ammo correctly when you exit at the end of a level. And I had no idea that this very fun feature was even in the game to begin with. I am very fortunate that I practiced these last few levels without BFG ammo because of how ass the mission select is with certain upgrades. This means I'm not cooked, but I had originally planned on using the 2 BFG shots that I brought into this level to clear out these first 2 areas. Then I was going to grab the final Sentinel Crystal early and burn a shot in the first real arena of the level. I'm just gonna use this. That should kill everything. Well, all the things we care about. I don't know if that's necessary here. They're a fucking prowler. Perfect. Okay. You see, I can probably get by on one less BFG shot if I choose to play a little more cautiously. But in literally the next room, I don't get the option to skimp on a shot, since I plan to fire it immediately after entering the room so I can clear everything, which will then allow me to force an Archvile to spawn before more demons flood back in. This sequencing is super important because immediately after doing that, a Marauder will spawn in too. And the last thing you want to be fighting is a Marauder that's getting friendly fired on, because when that happens, he will constantly have his shield up, which makes him practically invincible. I've been very fortunate in the sense that none of the Marauders thus far have figured out how to break me, and this luck will continue for at least the rest of this level since most of the encounters can quite literally just be walked around. Also, since these levels are fairly short, there isn't a need for any crazy strategies. but now that I was a BFG round short, I was going to need to do the final encounter a little bit differently than I had planned. Once I kill the tyrant in the middle of the arena, I can grab a BFG shot that I would normally take into the next level. I can then use this to kill most of the demons that spawn in after the tyrant death trigger. This fight does become super tough if you don't clear the medium demons with the BFG, so using it here is definitely the move. And once everything is dead, a Doom Hunter will spawn in and he can be quickly killed with the Frost Grenade Blood Punch combo and a Rocket Burst, which officially means there are only 2 levels left in Ultra Nightmare. The rest of this game has a bunch of very dangerous arenas, and the first one on Urdak is normally where I would use one of those BFG shots, but since I'm out, I cleared it the old-fashioned way with, thankfully, no issues. The good times continued through a few subsequent areas, and this is where my practice was genuinely starting to show. I was ripping and tearing like the best of them. So we have another Marauder fight here. The Marauder only spawns when that guy dies, so when we kill the Revenant, the Marauder is gonna spawn. So I'm just gonna run around and clear shit. All right. I don't like to sit in one place, so I'm just gonna back up. He summons those dogs, which is just absolute horseshit. So we just turn around and pop that where we can. And he's dead. And then we come over here. We farm these guys for armor. Bada bing, bada boom. Forget about it. I keep harping on the fact that the preparation makes a difference, but that's because it really does. Knowing what triggers an enemy to spawn is literally life or death. But on top of that, doing practice runs shows you what doesn't work. There are 2 massive arenas in the upcoming section, and you can choose which one you want to do first. But more importantly, I can use exactly 1 BFG shot if I want to get into the final level with full ammo. Because of the practice I had done, I knew that the left encounter was easier to maneuver around and stay alive. Even with the buff totem making the Cyber Mancubuses and Tyrants extremely dangerous, this arena has a ton of ways to line of sight the enemies, and it makes controlling the engagements way easier. If you stick to the basics and avoid getting cornered, most of the enemies in the left arena can be pseudo-isolated, and it makes the path to victory pretty straightforward. The same cannot be said about the right arena, since it is significantly more claustrophobic over there, and it's full of way shittier demons, which is why I went in a little bit nervous. All right, let's do this fight. We call this the shit fight here in the biz. No real reason why, but we do. Actually, I really should have waited for my fucking grenade to come back. Okay, that's fine. We got one. I think it's now, right? I think that's now when I want to use it. I'm sorting the fuck out of the second one. Spawn in, coward! That actually makes a big difference. When oh, what the fuck? I should have... Yeah, actually... Well, what the hell just happened? Oh, that's fucking scared the shit out of me. Oh, baby. Get all that armor. They call me the Bonnie Blue of goddamn Doom armor generation. Let's fucking go. Once both of these encounters had been cleared and all the appropriate knobs had been twisted, we have opened the road to the final boss of the level, the Con Maker. Considering this is the penultimate fight, you would expect it to be kind of a brawlic scrap. But that is really not the case in the slightest if you remember what to do. The first thing on the agenda is to grab the BFG shot in the middle of the boss fight, because starting the final level with 2 shots is critical to success. Now, the way to kill the boss in under a minute is pretty simple. Like any flying device, lock-on rockets are super effective. So shooting 1 to 3 volleys at the boss with maybe a cleanup shot from another gun will take down one of her health bars. And then you just use the meat hook to get in close and take her to Pound Town. But since ammo is kinda scarce, you can headshot these roaming monk enemies and get a huge chunk of it back, which makes this fight basically free if you don't extend it out for 5 minutes. So to be honest, this is probably the most manageable encounter in the endgame, assuming you know how to keep moving and don't let yourself get swarmed by the monks. This ultimately means that I beat Urdak on my first attempt, and I was heading into the final sin with hopes of finishing my first ever Doom Ultra Nightmare run. So here's what's in store for us. This final level contains the hardest arenas in Doom Eternal, but at this point, the biggest issue isn't figuring out how to kill one specific type of demon. It's about optimizing the order that you kill the enemies so they don't overwhelm you. For example, when the first Mancubus spawns in the first arena, shooting a BFG shot off the building will kill a Baron of Hell before he spawns, while simultaneously wiping out an entire wave of demons. Minimizing a demon doggy pile with these kind of planned BFG shots makes these encounters a whole lot easier. And that's not to mention that I can use the Crucible to one-shot things like tyrants. So in this arena, I can camp the area where they spawn, and I can drop a grenade to wipe out any fodder demons who might get in my way, and then I can insta-kill this guy to basically end the fight on the spot. Bop! Okay. Bop bop! Hey, what the fuck? Okay, let's fucking go! First encounter done! As I've mentioned before, a lot of the filler content at this point can be ran over if you remember where things are spawning, because the D-Blade and the BFG will wipe the floor with everything that wants to consume your insides. So when I tell you that the next big arena is the one that scares me the most in the entire game, I am not exaggerating. It contains 3 tyrants and a buff totem, which means execution needs to be damn near perfect in order to survive. Okay, take a drink. Literally, there's 2 fights left before the final boss. These are the 2 scariest fights in the game. All right, let's go. Jesus, brother. Why aren't you dying? Oh, shit. Nope. Not today, brother. Uh-oh. Hey, backup plan. Hey-oh. Okay, let's just get some space here. That was fucking close. I need armor. Who wants to be the next Flame Belch victim? You? Oh! What the fuck was that? Oh, baby. That was close. But we survived. That was fucking scary. While that fight may have looked like I evacuated into my pants, I was feeling damn near indestructible after surviving against Pinky in the Brain. This high was bolstered by the fact that the next encounter could be trivialized by shooting a BFG round out the side of the building the moment I entered the room. And then I would only have to deal with a single Marauder, followed by an Archvile that always spawns in the same place. That was it. I was going into the final encounter of Doom Eternal, and I was as ready as I was ever going to realistically be. The fight with the final sin has 2 phases, and coming into this fight with 2 BFG shots will help make this first one go a lot smoother. You see, beating this guy requires dealing enough damage to each of his 8 armor pieces, which can be found on his head, upper arms, forearms, belly, and chest. And each BFG shot will fully destroy one of them. Now, while a piece of armor is getting destroyed, the boss is locked in an animation where he rips it off, and this is where I can use my regular weapons to destroy his remaining armor. There are regular demons running around during this time, but the Crucible ammo on the ground is endless, so you can be liberal with your ripping and tearing and save all of your ammo for the boss. This first phase is relatively easy because the boss sits in one place and he gets staggered by his armor falling off, but both of these aren't true for phase 2, which means this is where I either lock in or I end up back at level 1. Second phase, let's go. Okay, I'm just trying to collect these things like they're fucking Pokemon here. Oh, I think I fucked that one up. Is his head dead? Oh. That was close. I'm stuck on a fucking box. Oh, there's one more fucking BFG shot back here. That should get the belly, right? Oh, nope. Not a big astronaut guy here, hey? I don't do meteor showers. Oh, holy fuck. Or goddamn God rays. Okay. Oh, nope. Nice try, everybody. I'm gonna go over here. What's left? Oh, no! What is... I don't know what's left. Oh, we fucking did it! Let's fucking fucking go! Oh my god! Ultra Nightmare? Brother, I'm the fucking nightmare. Dude, you guys have no idea how much of a relief this is. You guys don't understand the stress. They sent unto the demons only me. It's in the canon. It's in the lore. And you know what? That's enough. Let's see. I think, oh my god. This is our achievement. A golden suit to literally never play the game again. You know, after finally beating Doom Eternal on Ultra Nightmare, I have newfound respect for the people who speedrun these difficulties, because the amount of time and energy it takes to perfect these is unreal. For anyone who's curious, the 100% on Nightmare took me about 55 hours of playing back in 2025. And then I spent about 45 hours practicing and doing runs in Ultra Nightmare. So it took a good chunk of time to get this done. If you would like to see the full run, don't forget to check out the VOD channel, and maybe subscribe if you want to see me do some other crazy challenges in the future.